Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some very nifty and very kind of cool news going on, because there actually is a huge community project that's now officially in the works and officially starting. And if you guys don't necessarily know, this is actually in regards to emulation, and as well, basically like the idea of able to go and run any PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 game on your PC. Now, emulation's been around for a very long time, where we see stuff on, say, the Switch, or even like the Wii U, old school, especially a lot of old school Nintendo stuff on things like Dolphin emulators, or basically just have the ROM file, which is like just the files themselves of the games, and then you can basically go and put them on PC. You have the file itself, you can play it without even having to own the console, even own the game, although legally you have to own the game, obviously. And on top of that too, with that, it kind of lets people mod and try to change up games and have the original source files. And if you guys think that kind of sounds kind of nifty, because it does, we actually are now officially starting to see this for the PlayStation 5 and PS4. Now, it's a little bit more on the intriguing side for this, because, well, it's still in the development stages, but this actually might mean that people might be able to go and find and play pretty much almost any game in the future that are on these systems on PC. So this is a very intriguing thing that's kind of coming out over here, so I want to share this with you guys and talk to you guys about this, because I'm always a big fan of emulation, and I've actually used this in myself, and I just think the long term is very nifty. So a lot of stuff to go talk about along with my crazy hair as per usual, and as well, we always keep on mentioning this pretty heavily. Make sure you guys go and check out the brand new Samsung monitors down below, probably the best monitors on the entire market itself. Link down below. You got a free $50 too as well. Down below, we have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below. We have the Weeble and Coinbase down below. We have the Amazon links down below. And definitely go and subscribe for that PS5 giveaway on Twitter if you guys want to go creep on that. And we'll give you guys more details all throughout the week. So we have some kind of cool articles we're going to share and talk about this too as well. So let's go and showcase up some of these. But basically, this has now been kind of somewhat hitting its way into all the brand new news. We're basically the first brand new PlayStation 5 emulator for the PCs here. Kinda. So there is a little bit of a caveat to it, but I'm going to show you guys up some of the stuff, because I've been looking through this and seeing this stuff, and at the end of the day, it's actually been really sick. It's been really cool. So as of right now, we officially do have the very first PlayStation 5 emulator, which has now been officially released with the announcement of KTY, I have no idea how to say that, from the developer Inuris. So basically, if you guys are kind of curious on this is it. Like, I'm going to show you guys up maybe a little bit of the gameplay itself up in the background, because they actually have had a little bit of showcase with it just in general. So while it may not be impressive at the start, like here, this is one of those videos where I want you guys to kind of hear me out on. We are now finally having a chance to go and see it, like, actually physically turn on. We have a chance to physically go and, like, I have a chance to see it. And as of right now, it's in the, well, obviously very early stages. So here's like a Worms WMD over here, which you're able to go launch with the PS4 and PS5 files. And, well, at this point, I do want to reiterate that, yes, it could be, like, way better. And, like, we're not seeing, like, you know, God of War, Ragnarok running day one in terms of the files and RAMs for it, but this is basically the start of something beautiful. So with this, as you guys can literally see up in the background itself on the video in general, they're literally playing a PlayStation 4 and 5 game. Now, if you guys know emulation, you guys know this type of stuff, this is sick. Now, there's a lot of work to be done. Like, a lot of these emulators are even still being worked on for games from, like, the N64, so don't take that too much on, like, a, I guess, bad stretch with it. But as of right now, this actually might open up a huge window of people able to go utilize their old games that you legally have the files for, and you guys can go and play, and as well also just for potentially just bringing a lot more of these current-gen PS4 and PS5 games on emulation. Now, there is sometimes a weird legal right, too, as well, which is why we usually see a lot more of this on the prior gen as well, but like the fact that we're physically seeing this is awesome to go and see. And like I said, like we're able to go and see the graphics. It's a little bit more, you know, maybe they go have a little bit more streamlined as time goes on. But this is like now the very first initial steps where they're actually able to run a game, a PlayStation game on their PC. And I love this. This is sick. This is really cool to see. So basically, for the kind of like, besides my initial nerdy excitement, we actually are still in development, as I mentioned a few times. So yes, the article kind of continues, but in disappointment, you're not going to be rocking, you know, the 4K 60 FPS with the ray tracing on your PC running PlayStation 5 games, at least not yet. And that's because, like, it's just really hard to port over that type of stuff and find the initial files and make sure it, like, correlates with, like, say, like, your PC and, like, your actual graphics cards with all that stuff. I'm not the biggest when it comes to modding and modding files, but I just know it would be a little bit of a process nonetheless. So KT doesn't have support well for anything for the graphics so far for their games, and I have a little bit of issues, too, with the audio input and outputs in MP4 video support and network connectivity guide and all this, you know, all the other various type of stuff, too, as well. But once again, this is more so like this is like the discovery of life on like a planet. it may be like microbes or whatever, but like that's what this is pretty much the equivalent of what this is right now. That there is that potential, and we're like, whoa, where can this be taken next? What could this be utilized for in the future? And what kind of good stuff's going on? So right now, okay, so like I'm sure you guys know, most games are like version 1.0. Right now, this is version 0.1. So basically, this is described as the PS5, PS4 emulator for Windows x64, and as I've mentioned a few times throughout this video, is in the early stages of development, with the team telling us to consider this a PS4 emulator more than anything else. But this is officially the first release of a PS5 emulator that can run some simple games for the PS4. So it's kind of like one of those like intermittent, I guess, twist things as well, where it's like, it's a mixture of both. Like as time goes on, it's going to get better and better and better. So for this, if you guys want to go and check it on out, you guys can try yourselves. There's really no real reason for it as of right this second, though, mainly because they're still, working on it and developing it. But maybe in the future, it definitely would be. We actually can have a chance to go and unzip the file itself, from the games. And as you guys can see, they even have this too as well, where they even have like games booting. And like this will be one of those things like maybe 6 months from now, we'll have like, oh my god, this is the first PS5 game on it. Although it may be like an indie game or like a Returnal, or maybe a game that's already on PC too as well. And then maybe 2 years from now, we'll be like, oh my god, I can literally go play any game I want now with those types of files. Like, we'll have to kind of see how the development kind of goes with it, but like, it's been very nifty because we're seeing now the community bringing together this, which kind of also helps out for game preservation, also helps out for if, say, you have like a PS5 digital and then your console breaks and then you just want to go play the game as you're waiting for it to get repaired, or even maybe for long term, for maybe 10 years from now, when you're like, oh, I remember back in the day when, I played Horizon or Returnal for the first time. Well, maybe let me go and re-download it online, get the files for it, and go from there. It's just a really nice feature to have for games. So basically for this, you just have to unzip your folder, have your executable based on the PS4 files in a specific folder. Then you go and run the launcher and create a configuration, select the folder where your ELF files are, and click run ELF from the specified binary. So basically what it is you basically have a folder, you get the files, you put the files in there, it takes 2 seconds. Like I've done a little bit of emulation myself when it comes to like, say, Dolphin. Literally all you do is you just download the game, and then you launch it through like an emulator. It's actually very easy. And this is why I think it's an intriguing thing, because we're seeing like some more news with it popping up, like kind of the same thing with it, where like I mentioned the developer Inrunners has made the first PS5 emulator for your PC that you can literally download it right now too as well. And I still think the bigger thing too will be very intrigued on the PS4 side, because it would make a lot more sense. Some of the PS5 technology is a little bit more encrypted and harder to go and find and sort through. And just how it is, just how it is in general. But when it comes to this with the PS4, that makes a lot more sense. Because as I mentioned at the start of the video, a lot of the times we have more of the prior gen. So like I said, N64 or like the GameCube. The Switch itself, I think, is still having issues on its own emulation. So I think they might have a little bit of a one, but it's more on like, say, the Wii U. And that's why a lot of people were able to emulate Breath of the Wild, because it was a Wii U game, and it was easy to find the files and kind of the source codes and stuff like that. And kind of the same thing too when it comes to Xbox, just a lot of those games are on PC anyway. Those are a little bit more on the easier side for that. So this is really cool, because this is the very start of some really cool technology for all of us to enjoy. So basically for this one too, as well, as I mentioned, like even every article is like, hey, you're still having some issues with it. It's still in the early stages. You're just trying your best to get on top of that. And that's why I also, once again, was mentioning that a lot of PS3 emulators have been phenomenal, because once again, it's the prior generation. Like, we've had a chance to develop and work on it. So the fact that we're even getting this early so far for the PS5 actually means we'll probably have some really cool stuff. So awesome. It's an active development. There's also 2 other people doing well on top of that one, and they're all working with it too in general. So I guess kind of give me your thoughts on this. Like, do any of you guys ever use emulations yourselves? Is this something you guys are intrigued on? Do you guys like this for the game preservation side? Do you guys like it for maybe just game sharing? Or are you guys just going to be like a pirates out there sailing the 7 seas and trying your best to go get games as fast as you can for free? Now, I will never judge anyone for doing types of schemes. Just always know, legally, you do have to own the game to have the ROM. But I do believe once you legally own the game or have bought the game before, you technically own it. So then you're able to go utilize the ROMs themselves and then go and put that towards the game. So very cool. I love seeing this. I love seeing the future of the PlayStation, all these things coming out. And at the end of the day, maybe like a few years from now, we can go play like God of War Ragnarok and go and mod it and give him like, I don't know, like a nice ballerina tutu. I don't know, whatever people utilize either way. So like I said, kind of cool news. I like hearing about this, and hopefully we'll have some more. As well as a reminder, guys, make sure you guys do go keep on checking out the Samsung TVs and monitors and all that stuff down below with their nice little links. Save a bunch of free money, get some easy good stuff. Down below are the Amazon links as well for the PS5 Digital Console Controller, Twitter and Twitch Room down below, the Webull and Coinbase down below, the Xbox down below, Twitter and Twitch Room down below, everything down below. And I'll see you guys later on throughout today for more videos. Love you guys.